Welcome to the place of learning. My name is Monika, and this is Guru Grit, a place where we come to expand ourselves with knowledge. And today, as I'm reorganizing my book catalogs and everything, I'm figuring out, will I read it again? What should I do? I really want to spread the wealth, spread the knowledge. Well, let's go straight to the source. I have my very beautiful copy of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by the incredible Dr. Joseph Murphy, one of my all-time favorites. Such an amazing teacher. And I really wanted to kick off this recording, or this little day that I'm having, I suppose, with the idea of wealth. Now, he has a very cool chapter on riches and another one on success in this book. So people who are looking for affirmations or methods to attract and magnetize more affluence in their lives, stay tuned. I'm going to keep this short, but I'm going to really pull out what's so significant about this book and this chapter. So here is chapter 10, called Your Right to Be Rich, and I'm going to read from it just a little bit. He wrote, "It is your right to be rich. You are here to lead the abundant life and be happy, radiant, and free. You should therefore have all the money you need to lead a full, happy, and prosperous life. You are here to grow, expand, and unfold spiritually, mentally, and materially. You have the inalienable right to fully develop and express yourself along all lines. You should surround yourself with beauty and luxury. Your desire to be rich is a desire for a fuller, happier, and more wonderful life. It is a cosmic urge. It is not only good, but very good. Money is a symbol. Money is a symbol of exchange. It means to you not only freedom from want, but beauty, luxury, abundance, and refinement. It is merely a symbol of the economic health of the nation. When your blood is circulating freely in your body, you are healthy. When money is circulating freely in your life, you are economically healthy. When people begin to hoard money, to put it away in tin boxes and become charged with fear, there is an economic illness." This is really interesting. He goes on to talk about why some people don't have money, and that it is the reflection of balanced thinking. He truly, in this next page, refers to poverty as a mental disease. And this is something very interesting, because I used to get, as a child, you say things you don't really think through very deeply because you don't understand social conditioning yet, and decorum and all those things. But I remember saying one time, I was driving in the car with somebody, and we were going through a very affluent part of the city where I live, and they said, "Look at these rich bastards. Who needs a house with 17 rooms?" And I said, "Wouldn't you like to be rich?" And they said, "Well, yes, of course I would." And I said, "So how can you become something that you hate?" And sure enough, here he explains that you would no more shame a person for being, you wouldn't shame someone for being born poor. They cannot help it. So why flatter someone for being born rich? But either way, you can express snobbishness towards either of those extremes, and it's just not a good use of your mental faculties, is it? As Edgar Cayce says, there's no such thing as sin, but the misuse of creative energy is the closest thing that will come to it, and that thought works against you. So Dr. Murphy writes, "There is no virtue in poverty. It is a disease like any other mental disease. If you were physically ill, you would think there was something wrong with you. You would seek help and do something about the condition at once. Likewise, if you do not have money constantly circulating in your life, there is something radically wrong with you. The urge of the life principle in you is toward growth, expansion, and the life more abundant. You are not here to live in a hovel, dress in rags, and go hungry. You should be happy, prosperous, and successful." Now he was a deeply spiritual and religious man. So bear in mind, he will confirm over and over and affirm through his work that it is your God-given right to be wealthy. It is your sovereign right as a human being to enjoy material life because you chose to be born into a material life. Now, experiencing extremes has value. I'll be the first to admit that. I always say food tastes so much better after you've been a bit hungry, and money feels so good after not having it. but it's not a permanent state, and it's not a desirable state. Like, people say money doesn't buy happiness. I've never known it to make me sad, you know? So you just have to understand there is value in contrast. But this isn't set to shame anyone or make anybody feel difficult or some kind of way. I personally feel like all of my favorite teachers make peace with the material realm. And this makes them incredibly wise, because there's only so many spiritual things you can do. Eventually, once you reach the top, you realize the most spiritual thing you can do is enjoy a human experience. You know, take your kids to school, and then maybe after school, stop by a really healthy place and get an ice cream at McDonald's. You know, if the machine is working, you enjoy the bird song in the morning. Even if you live in the city, you don't have to be some cabin up in the woods surrounded by billionaires. Wherever you are, you enjoy what your mind has created. And this is exactly why gratitude brings in more things that we enjoy. I mean, if we had that as a default setting, we would all be born into the ideal scenario, but we aren't. For ourselves, by our own individual definition is what I mean. I don't just mean the material sense. I mean, you teach yourself. You teach yourself how to climb out of your circumstances. And this is ultimately what shows you that the power was in you all along. Now, he says to make money, to say that you like it all the time. And he definitely gives some ideas on how to have money flow through your life. Surely, if you want money, you have to be bold. You have to know what you want. And I would say he also mentions something which is very true, that you cannot get something for nothing. I had this realization in thought and meditation one day, and I realized love is free. All the good things in life don't cost money. But if you want to fall in love, you've probably got to go on a date and try to look cute or smell good or something. I thought, yeah, that takes effort. That's energy, okay. Well, if you want to make a lot of money, you have to know how to look someone in the eye and shake their hand and iron your clothes. I thought, okay, well, that's energy, that's effort. And it dawned on me, the universe doesn't ask you for anything. It's not like a deal with some, stereotypical deal with the devil type of thing where you sign your name on the dotted line. No. Energy is the currency of the cosmos. Energy is the currency of the universe. Money is a form of exchange. It is just energy. A bill or a bank card or the account that you look at on your laptop, they're all made up of atoms, just like you and I in this cosmic soup. They're actually the same thing. So how come some people have it and some people don't know how to get it? This is where mental discipline comes in. You are hemorrhaging your energy. I've made extensive TikTok videos about this if you want to go back and watch. But I give this very simple exercise to anyone who comes to me. I'll give it to you here today. Assume that the universe is a banker and you are a client. It is your banker. Every time you think a negative thought, you owe the bank $5 to $10. And every time you think a positive thought, you get $5 to $10. So say you get a coffee in the morning and you're let's say you spent your last $3 on that coffee and you're 1 block away from your office. Someone is rushing, they bump into you, cup goes flying out of your hand, the lid pops off and it spills inside of the sidewalk. The person doesn't stop, they don't look back, they don't acknowledge you, they're not accountable, they do not apologize, they move on. You're the only witness to this, and you don't get your coffee, and it was your last $3 until your next paycheck. This is the test. Do you say, maybe I wasn't meant to have that, it would have given me a bad tummy, or that poor person was late, they're much worse off than I, or hey, I always used to shrug and say it happens to the best of us, just leave it. If you react that way, peacefully, you've just received $5 to $10. If you fly into a rage, you lose. If you start to think, that was my last $3, now what am I going to do? I bet this never happens to other people. Don't do that. Please, I'm going to go over a book and I'm going to put it up for sale. I have this incredible book. You can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. And it is a luxury because it costs you. You don't think it does. You think you're standing up for yourself. You think you're something, I don't know, but energetically, you're depleting your energy, you're misusing thought, you're misusing creative energy. So, in this sense, you have to find a way to discipline your mind. You have to find a way to play this game with yourself and say, what is the bank going to give me today? Because I'm going to be on my best behavior. I'm not going to let anybody influence me. I influence my circumstances. So, speaking of influencing your circumstances, here's the exercise I'm going to give you out of this chapter. Repeat frequently, it says, quote, I like money. I use it wisely, constructively, and judiciously. I release it with joy, and it returns 1,000-fold. End quote. Once again, I like money. I use it wisely, constructively, and judiciously. I release it with joy, and it returns 1,000-fold. Go ahead, say this to yourself all day, every day, as many times as you possibly would like to do, and see if anything in your circumstances shifts in the next month. If you really want to challenge yourself, give it your best shot and see if anything shifts in the next week. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. I love you all. Bye bye for now.